Hey guys, Matt and Kristen
Hi.
coming to you live for Marriage Monday, and today we're going to be talking about finances.
To be fun.
Yeah, kind of a touchy subject. Let me tag you in this. Probably not the best time to do that, but whoops. So drop us a 1 if you have joint bank account with your spouse. Drop us a 2 if you have separate bank accounts with your spouse. Because that's mostly what we're gonna be talking about tonight, and we even have notes. So we're not experts on everything. Oh my gosh.
Or anything.
Right. That's the truth. Okay, so we're going to cover 3 things. We're going to cover money in relationships. We're going to cover common excuses. And we're going to cover reasons why we think that joint accounts are better. So, you want to start or you want me to start?
Where are we starting?
I don't know. We're going to start with money in relationships. So information is love, and when you're not sharing bank accounts, I think that there's a lack of information kind of being shared there, and it's super important to share your financial situation before you're married, preferably not the night before you get married.
Yeah. Especially if there's like something that would significantly change the beginning of your marriage. So like a significant amount of debt, some hidden debt, some unpaid bills where, maybe like a bunch of things are in collections, a really poor credit score, those types of things can, it's important for those to be part of the conversations that you're having about your relationship
and
before you get into...
And not to look at it as an interrogation, but to look at it as gaining information about one another, and that equals love.
The other thing too is, not to hide if you're a good money person. Like if you have, a significant amount of savings, if you have some investments that paid off, if you have, property, or, you were unlucky enough to win the lottery, tell your future spouse about those things so that you guys can work through how all that works and will affect your marriage.
Yeah. And if you're willing to share a house, a last name, a bed, kids, then really you should be able to share a bank account with that person. And just kind of some of the implications that may set, or the tone that may set for your significant other if you are choosing to say, no, I don't want to share a bank account with you, is that it's very contrary to the unity of marriage. When you become married, you become one, and therefore your finances should also become one. And if you maybe think that dampens your freedom, try pooling your money together as a couple, and then setting certain budgets for things. And like a clothing budget, or mine may be a clothing budget, Matt's may be a tech budget, how much he can spend on tech a month or whatever. But really that also we'll get to what that does later in the reasons for joint accounts.
I think it's important that before you're even married, that you are starting to get an idea of what your spouse's attitude is toward money. How do they spend? And not so that you can put on the brakes or anything, but it is a significant part of your marriage.
Go ahead. A lot of marriages, that is like number one thing that they fight about. Majority of the reason why people actually get separated or divorced. And kind of back to what I was saying regarding money in relationship, just relationship to money and money in your relationship. Money equals power. And that power that money offers provides a sense of freedom, but it can often bind you up as a couple, just because you may both not be on the same page. And marriage is not a consumer relationship. It is a covenant relationship.
And I know that what was significant for us was just realizing over time, something that happens later in marriage maybe is realizing who you've become with your relationship to money. And then also, what your kind of deeply held beliefs about money were. Largely from how your parents.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Okay, sorry.
So no, you're fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to interrupt you.
I don't want to give anything away. That was just a teaser.
We're keeping you reeled in here, people. Okay, so four excuses people tend to give their significant other for why they don't want to join bank accounts. And the first one is basically what you were saying, kind of ties in with that, is fear. And really, I think a lot of people just get angry at their spouse, and they're just like, you're being an idiot. I don't know why you can't see it my way. And we need to stop and ask our spouse, what do you have a fear about this? Do you have discuss with your spouse how they were raised, how they grew up. What were you going to say regarding that?
Just that, like, I remember, that there were different ways that even I would see my friends or my family members, and the way that they approached money, and thinking like, oh, that's very different from the way that my parents used money.
Yeah.
So, I think that, even if you don't know all of the details about how your parents' money was spent, you do have an idea of how much they were spending, or what their general spending attitude was. Were they savers? Were they like experienced lovers and they loved to, go out and do a lot of things? Were they buyers? Did they like to buy a lot of, different types of products or big, make big purchases? What was, what was kind of the general approach?
Your spouse may have come from a totally different income range than you did, where you may have come from, poverty, and they came from, Beverly Hills. And so super important for you to be able to discuss that and relate, because your spouse may be having a fear of financial insecurity, and if they give that away, it's not necessarily have anything to do with you, but they feel like they're giving it away, and that is something that they're holding on to, because they're afraid and because of their upbringing in their past.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second thing, we're kind of being long-winded tonight. Sorry. But this is kind of a big deal, and there's lots of information. So hang with us. Failed marriage is another excuse. So people can say, well, what if the marriage fails? Well, that is a crappy way to go into a marriage, number one. And if you go into a marriage already thinking that way, you are already prioritizing money over marriage.
Yeah, but honey, what if people go into a marriage where they've, it's their second marriage?
Yeah, then you're broke already.
Not financially broke, just broken.
Oh, but all the way around, you're just broken. So, and we just can't go into marriage expecting failure.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
That's
reason
good.
number 3, people tend to use the excuse of why they don't want to do joint bank accounts, is that joint bank accounts cause fighting. And
which is baloney, because there's still money involved and you're going to fight anyway. So now instead of fighting like spouses, you're fighting like roommates.
Yep.
Right? So you've all had a roommate before, or likely all had a roommate before. And remember that time? It's like, oh, but I bought this cereal for me, and you just ate some of that cereal. You owe me $1. Yeah, but you used the soap, and I bought the soap the last time we were at the grocery store.
Yeah, you're fighting
It's
for
a mess.
what's yours instead of what's ours.
Correct.
So, and that can just be detrimental to a marriage. Okay, so premarital debt, that's the 4th excuse. We've already kind of covered that at the very beginning. But that's definitely something that you need to discuss, before the night before you get married.
All right, bring it home.
And it's not an excuse to not have bank accounts because, again, you are one. You are taking on everything with that person.
Let's make the final push.
All right, here we go.
For joint checking, these are the reasons.
Okay. Cultivates a spirit of yielding to openness.
It promotes trust in your relationship.
Simplifies paying bills and expenses.
It can help your family have a clear, transparent picture of your finances.
It encourages communication.
It forces accountability. She gets to know what I spend money on, and I get to know what she spends money on.
Yeah. And I think that financial independence, with that accountability, that can be kind of a selfish thing.
Yeah.
So keeping each other accountable. It's helpful in crises. Is that a word?
Crises.
And and emergencies. If he dies and I don't have access to his bank account, how am I going to live?
That's true.
So
beware, I might die soon. She's going to kill me.
No, I'm not.
Team mentality, just the idea, the spirit of the thing. A lot of times we look at the letter of the law about finances, and really, since we're both in it together, it can help us both have a sense of togetherness and of having a team that's wanting to move positively forward.
Yeah. And lastly, it gets you excited about reaching your financial goals together. It gives you, again, that team mentality. We're going to work towards something together. And
that includes anything from being able to make a smaller purchase, like, a refrigerator or, something like that, to a medium-sized purchase like a car or, something like that, to like a major purchase like a home. But it also includes other financial, I think that people think in terms of like financial goals as like what I get to buy, but it's also like how much I get to save. It's how much I get to give. It's being able to improve your credit score. And so there are lots of, really good growth areas that you can have around surrounding your finances.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave you with this. When you have separate bank accounts, you're basically saying, it's my money, I can do what I want with it. And replace that with, what if you said that about your sex life or your children or your house? That is just not that independent mindset is not the mindset of teamwork. And that's what marriage is. So if you guys have further questions or want us to talk more about finances, please let us know, comment below, and we will be happy to touch on other subjects in regards to finances, since we mostly did like separate bank accounts tonight. So just let us know, and we will see you next week. We're going to be talking about the magic of marriage. It's not what you think. It's an illusion.
And if you already have joint bank accounts, budget. All right.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.